He was the next-door neighbor a lot of people would love to have. He cleared snow from people's walks, helped with some home improvement projects, an all-around great guy, except for the fact he's a murderer. Brian Moss has the story of this man from Northglenn who lived a double life for decades.
He was the most beautiful baby she'd ever seen in her whole life. Yeah.
This family waited and hoped for 40 years.
It's been traumatic, kind of a black cloud kind of hanging over.
In 1979, their brother and uncle, 32-year-old Craig Woolley, a Navy veteran, was murdered in his San Diego home, stabbed a dozen times. The case went cold.
My whole entire life, I've thought about him different times.
Tim Graham was just 10 when his uncle was killed. He had no idea detectives were still working the case until his uncle, Kent, got a call.
The DA called me and said, we believe we have the man, which was quite a surprise.
The man believed responsible was Jeff Cauble, who lived in Northglenn. He'd been living a double life as a family man, concealing this decades-old secret.
I would never in a million years suspect Jeff of ever doing that. My God, the guy was a baker. I knew him as he used to bake.
Rob and Lynn Scher lived across the street from Cauble for 20 years. They were stunned to hear about Cauble's past.
He'd keep an eye on our house. We did the same thing when they'd go somewhere.
I mean, that's it. He was a wonderful neighbor. He really was a wonderful neighbor.
At the time of the murder, Cauble was a 21-year-old Marine stationed near San Diego. Decades later, a cold case detective built his case utilizing advances in DNA. And last year, Cauble was arrested for murder. At trial, Cauble said he was drugged and raped and killed Woolley in self-defense. The jury didn't buy it, finding him guilty of murder.
That some really solid investigators and detectives actually cared.
Craig Woolley's family is still learning details about Jeffrey Cauble, the man who lived on this block in Northglenn for years, keeping a low profile.
It's a weird feeling that someone could do something so terrible and then go on with a life.
And they want Cauble to know, 40 years later, Craig Woolley has not been forgotten.
He was a son, and he was a brother, and he was our uncle. And so he didn't just kill some random person. He killed somebody that meant something.
I'm Brian Moss, covering Colorado First.
Jeff Cauble will be sentenced in June. He is asking for a new trial.